Thank you so much to India Kids Summit, an initiative by IWMBuzz Live. It's powered by Green Gold Animation and Gubbare TV. Associate partner is Neela Film Productions. Partners are Puntoon Kids and Proes. And of course, like we all know, give it up for IWMBuzz once again, please, ladies and gentlemen. Season 5 of India Kids Summit keeps getting bigger and better with every year. All right, we discussed a lot about marketing spends. I believe the results that come, in favor of the brands, the results that don't come in favor of the brands. What do you do to counter? What are the new strategies that one can adopt? A lot of things have been discussed. I believe this panel is something that's going to enlighten you all a little more about the marketing spends part in terms of how you actually change and strategize your approach, whether you do it in the TV space, digital space, or whatever. So let me tell you all the topic for the moment. The topic for the moment right now is shift from traditional TV to online or digital, tapping the changes of marketing spends. Like I mentioned, this is an event, this is a particular, I would say, session that's dedicated to marketing spends. The topic is shift from traditional TV to online digital, tapping the changes of marketing spends. Before I call our speakers, I'll request everybody to kindly keep their phones in silent mode, whoever has joined us later. We don't want to distract our speakers. All right, so quickly I'll call in Mr. Crasto, founder, RedFox Mediacorp. He'll be moderating this session, and he always has that dynamic entry whenever it is. So that's why you wanted that kind of entry. All right, so this session, he's going to be joined by Tarak Bhattacharya, Executive Director and CEO, Mad Over Donuts. Give it up for Mr. Tarak, please, ladies and gentlemen. मैं भी बजाऊंगा जोर से. Come on, give it up, sir. Pleasure to have you. I'll next call on stage Janardan Pandey, founder, Nett Value Media, and director, Metier Media. Can I give it up for Mr. Janardan Pandey, ladies and gentlemen? Zor se bajaiye taali. Welcome, sir. I'll invite Mr. Mohit Ahuja, president of the GOZOOP group over here. Please give it up for sir, please. He's been there listening patiently to all the other panels as well. So thank you so much for that. And I'll request Gaurav Balani, Deputy General Manager, Marketing of Infiniti Mall, to join us over here. Pleasure to have you again, sir. All right, so when Ron sir takes over the moderator charge, I feel a lot more relaxed because he takes 50% of my job away. So it makes me feel a little relaxed. Over to you, sir.
आज जो पगार मिल रहा है मेरे को दे देना भाई. Okay, this is our last session. So last session is always either a boring session or a good session. So I would suggest let's make it interesting. I don't want to make a boring session. Second last session. Last session is Anurag sir, the ultimate session. So guys, I just want to ask you questions here before we start the session. Okay, it's a very interesting session how TV has shifted to digital. But before that, I want to ask by the show of hands. कितने जन ये रूम ने ब्लैक एंड वाइट टीवी देखे हैं? where you watch black and white blue screen में? Okay. And how many physically changed channel? DD1, DD2 or Metro? Wow. So it's just 10-15%. Okay, now tell me who has got a TV channel which has got more than 1,000 channels to watch? Can we see hands raised, please? Again? Hardly? Okay. Now, how many people have Instagram and Facebook accounts here? Wow. So the story here is, okay, this is famous lines which we all say, especially to our clients and also sometimes to our girlfriends and wives, that ungli diya to haath pakad gaya. Now, how this is connected is, basically in today's world, when you had a channel change, you used to do this. Then we had a remote, we used to do this. Now, the third thing, we are doing this, okay? It's a nice Punjabi song, which we all can sing, Bale Bale. But life has moved in that direction. So, to our esteemed panel, I want to ask this question. How TV is now being ditched, okay, as an old wife, and digital is become the new wife. How does that has happened? Do you see this happening in your brands? Do you see this change is going to be here to stay? Or do you see you go back to your old wife? Okay, it's not the right way to put it, but do you see TV as being an ignored lot and digital as a preferred lot? So any one of you can start. And please give examples of your brand because that will become easier for the audience to understand because that's the life experiences which you guys can share. While everything is great in theory, but jitna practical ho sahi utna answer kariye, so it will be easy for all of us. Any of you can start.
Hello.
Yeah, great.
Let me start. I want, since this is getting live on things also, let me tell you that I go back to my wife. I think she'll be listening it, so she'll be very happy about it. But when I go back to the office, they don't listen. So that's the starting point. I think, yes, things have shifted terribly well. I think including us, in fact, as an individual also, we have shifted focus from television to actually online. You're right, we were not doing this. In our industry, we do this, this one. Because we scroll the internet to understand or to order food for us.
Yeah.
And if you don't order it right and you don't give the food right, then actually people actually talk with both the languages.
Yep.
So you understand, so basically everything is changed across the whole thing. And especially food is all about emotion, a lot about because people consumed it. And since people understand the food very well than any other tech, edutech, hospitals, everything, what you call it. So they think if you don't do a good job with it, and if you don't deliver it well, whether it's a content through an Instagram or the social media of the world, you don't deliver it well. So yeah, it is there to stay, I think for sure. A traditional medium, I don't know. But food is a lot about empathy, I think. So I think both the mediums will stay, but I think more than internet content, etc., is the way ahead.
Okay. What you have to say, what does the data say in terms of your thought process when you guys basically meet your brands, talk to them? What is the debate? Is the debate now not a debate? Or is it like, okay, fine, let's go with it?
See, brands are loyal to audiences. They're not loyal to any platforms.
Okay.
Naturally, when the technological advancements happen, the audience will shift to the better platforms.
Yep.
Now, content used to be delivered to kids through television. There were no other options. And television used to get, our distribution of content was through DTH and cables.
Yes.
Now, with the internet becoming so much available in every household, now content is available, the same content is available on so many platforms. Okay. In earlier days, 10 years back, television used to, broadcasting companies will tell that, you can watch this program at 10:30, 8:30, 7:30.
Yeah.
So you have to follow their menu. Now, it's a human nature to be demanding, to be having freedom. So the moment the content shifted from cable to internet, we are wanting to watch whenever we want. Okay, number one. Number two, the effect of licensing. When the broadcasting was happening, it was ruled by so many rules and regulations. Everybody cannot become a broadcaster. Yep. They cannot publish their content. Now it is so democratized. I know so many influencers, individuals who are more popular than many of the channel programs. Their reach is more than, like you said, rightly said, there are more than 800 channels in India. Yep. So their reach is much more than many of the programs that broadcasted. So brands have more choice. They can specifically target. So they need reach, they need impact, and they need fitment. Yep. Earlier, it was a gross reach that, this channel is the only option. Now we can select geography, we can select age, we can select taste and preferences, we can select time of the day. So with so much of freedom for the audience and brands, naturally the shift is going to happen from television to the digital platforms.
Okay. So Mohit, what do you feel? It's become more easier now for the brands because they'll say, okay, for your company, when you go and meet the brand, they say मेरा TG specifically ये है, मेरा okay, my geography is specified, my age group is specified. It's become so precise and clinical. Do you think life has become easy for you guys?
I think life's actually become difficult for an ad agency because you're dabbling with content creation, which you want to make superior content, and on the other hand, there's spends bit. So you have to balance the two. Now, I typically come from a place where I believe that content is king. Yeah. And whether it was this or what was the third gesture you showed, ultimately it's the hand that's controlling, right? Yeah. So my point is, what we feel or what was created earlier still holds true. It's just that the manifestation of it is changing. You've got more areas of micro-targeting, of going on, but what kids want is essentially what kids wanted, right? So most of us, whether we are planning on media or whether we are planning to create content, I think we come from a place, what would we like to watch as a kid? And if I can give him that, I would suit. So most of our clients, for example, in laptops, we would choose, back to college and back to school events, basis platforms which are friendlier to that, which happen to be more online than in the traditional media, typically. Having said that, if today a TV channel comes up with content which is superior to what OTT or digital is coming, I see a momentary trend shifting there as well, because nobody else has done that. Yeah. So right now, yes, it is moving towards digital highly and with content which is good, and it is a blessing for a media person because you're able to justify ROI on targeted audiences, and that really works as far as the media guy goes. Not so much for a content guy. But for a content guy also, there's a lot of preachy content for kids which is coming on. And I think that needs to be curtailed, because ultimately kids want to see what they want to see and not what they need to see.
So Gaurav, how does it work with you, especially for an Infiniti kind of property where most of your brand is retail, regional, Bombay specific? Do you heavily load your spends largely on local BTL, or does it have to be more constructively on digital followed by BTL, etc. put together? What's your journey?
Okay. Actually, we bring colors. We are not a black and white era people. So malls came into existence when color TV actually came into existence, practically. So we are an experiential part for the people to, people come to us for the experiential. So kids used to see the cartoon on the TV. Practically, they interact with the cartoon at the mall place. So we do events where kids interact. Meet and greet happens with the Chota Beam. We do birthday celebration of Chota Beam. So this actually, for them also, their parents actually get an advantage to create the content and they post. Practically, they tag us and divert traffic to us. That is the advantage with us. As far as spends are concerned, I'll say almost, if I'll say my 50% is on the events, and almost like 30% we spend on the digital front now. Especially our main media is Instagram. So I'll say from before lockdown, we were not very active in creating a content. Now we are very active in creating a content. And whatever we do, because we do experiential part, human touch and feel, we provide to the customers. And people, when they see people on their Instagram, there are chances that they'll come to us, because it's something different which they are seeing. And every mall, most of the time, they do something. In fact, we are one of the greatest place for a lot of movie promotions. We are greatest place for some of the TV programs to showcase in the mall, because you get live audience there and their reactions can be captured there.
So by and large, what I want to ask you is, while this transformation and the shift is happening, is your budgets now getting heavily skewed in terms of spends, more on digital, less on television, or no television? Are we in a scenario where you can take that gutsy call and say, hey, no TV, but only digital? Do you think that could be the next thing to do, or to create, or to actually desert television? I mean, I know I'm asking a very tough question here, but do you think that is primarily happening from the brands? Because what I hear from you is basically the response mechanism, micro-targeting. So these are the words I've actually garnered. Okay, client seems to be asking your retention model, CPMs, all these jargons. So do you think that is something which is not really there on television, because TV just works on your rating points, etc. So do you think that is going to be the next thing which I'm going to talk? Is that bomb dropped where we say no TV and only digital?
So we are not into television at all. We don't have any TVC. And we believed this 10 years back when we launched the brand. And we always thought it is the people, the store, the facade, the product which will make it happen for us. And it happened. And today also, I think we do a lot of reels in terms of making the product, how the product is showcased. For example, we recently did the Mango Festival, which is still on. And we actually showcase how a mango is mango donut getting produced in terms of reels. So I think we are a lot into content. I think the content creation, we are a lot into influencing. I think the influencer also helps us a lot, into understanding the product portfolio, etc., and actually delivering it to those specific categories who like this product. Although the medium is huge, 5 to 55, as I call it for the donut brand, everybody eats. For example, I'll give you just an example of a Women's Day where we are actually telling the women community that, listen, come to the store and avail the discount what your age is. I had a 101-year-old come to my store. She actually took 1% from me. So we are more into content creating, more of engagement through this content creation, a lot of influencers, actually a lot of sampling we do to attack crowd. But there is no television for sure.
So we have a guy who is not taking TV at all.
So what he rightly said is that, see, television is, there was always question with the television is that you want 100 people, but you pay for 1,000. So lot of spillage. So as a planner, we always do the targeting, 25 to 45 or 12 to 14. After doing everything, you have to pay for the entire audience that television is catering to.
So you're referring as waste.
Yeah. So there is no customization in terms of cost that was possible with the television. Then comes the audience. The audience is also fixed. What they are delivering, we have to select from there. So customization of audience is also not possible, was not possible, and is not possible with the television. So we might do a lot of analysis, strategic negotiations, buying, but what you getting is what is there. And the customization of cost. Now, for many of our clients, it's nothing to do with the kids product, but we are buying IPL at 25 to 40 lakhs with Jio Cinema. Now, 8 years back, if a client tells me that he wants to go on IPL, the first thing I'll tell him that you need 3 CR, minimum. Ideally, you should spend 7 to 10 CR, but 3 CR, that is what is minimum requirement. Now, look at this. So obviously, the digital is going to address very large chunk of advertisers, the marketers, and the brand owners, which television cannot do. So the change is inevitable. If you talk to a digital company, they will customize content for you, which television will never do. They try it, they propagate, but they never do. So this cost advantage and the micro-targeting and is so much better than the earlier era. So is nobody ditching the TV. TV is becoming redundant by its own character. And this will continue. We might have television, big television, but it will be run on the internet.
So basically, more of impact properties. You mentioned cricket.
Yeah.
Largely, and more related to any of this weekend properties is where you can find kind of audiences.
Yeah.
But lot of spillover is now happening on digital, where catch up TV or YouTube or any other content which you want to talk is basically watch there.
Yeah, so there are so many options now. Now you have DIY on YouTube. You have this Peppa Pig. You have so many other channels doing much better. The music domain has music has almost over. There are music channels, but no advertisers is actually, they're not in the consideration list. The movies are almost down. All the movie channels. GC, so it is not something going to happen overnight. And television is such a huge mass media that it is not possible for big brands to suddenly shift and say no to TV. You rightly said that it has to be very gutsy and time-consuming decision. But that process has begun. Okay, the shift is inevitable.
Okay. Mohit, what is your view?
Yes, I completely agree. The shift has begun. But I think, if you just look at it very modularly, there are a lot of different segments, both from an audience perspective and from the products you're selling, right? So also keep in mind that you can't really use social media to target kids because a certain age, 13 and above, that you can use Insta on, for example.
Opa rooms.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why it becomes, and also while it's very, it's a very done thing to say that internet or rather digital entertainment is democratized. The fact is that if you look at OTT penetration, paid accounts of Netflix or Amazon Prime, the penetration is increasing. Yes, it is, but it is very slow in the tier 2 and tier 3 towns. So if you have a hard-boiled Parle or Britannia sweet to sell, TV somehow still becomes the default medium. Having said that, if you have a high-end laptop to sell, which the top 12 markets are your key markets, then my digital, there's so many gaming platforms, so many chat platforms, those are the by default platforms that I'll go to. So yes, the spend is going to digital in some categories like as yours, maybe TV has no role at all. But in many categories, TV still plays a very relevant role. Yes, it will die down, but overall, we've been talking of this convergence ever since. I think sooner or later, when that happens, yes, we can say TV is truly dead, but as of now, it remains an important part in a whole lot of categories to reach out, to make a mass impact. Yeah, and yes, digital is increasing in a lot of niches, like we said, for eatables, for consumables, for laptops, for FMCG. There is a different market. Right now, so the diversity of the top 5% in terms of value brands would depend solely on digital. But the bottom 20% in terms of value, per capita value, would be on television, and that would be my cut.
So Gaurav, how do you operate when you are in a city-specific, retail-specific, or a regional-specific kind of a market, and when you have your shopping festivals which happen, or you have Monsoon Dhamaka, or whatever branding I can put across, do you actually use television, or do you take a support of a local television, or you just go pure digital and just do some outdoor campaigns and just make noise through your mailers, etc., or do you actually depend on your footfalls, which happens on weekends? So do you take a club of all that? How do you kind of operate?
We take ATL media, so newspaper ads and radio is our main it's a part of our plan. I'll not say it's a main thing. Digital is again important for us. Television, localized, yes. Cable TV network, we have used it in the past, but when digital strongly came into existence, we stopped doing it because we are not getting the kind of traction which we get it through digital now. As far as you rightly said, like doing this, so and changing the channel, that thing has actually more or less, it's gone. It's a fact, especially for a local, when we're targeting to the localized people, we look out that thing more rather than this thing. And especially when we talk about the kids also, or the teenagers, or the new millennials, which we are targeting more, they look out this, not this.
Fair enough. So, so more or less, the panel feels that digital is going to be the next big thing, or is the big thing. But having digital, the complexities have increased. Now, the complexities have increased in such a way that there is a new breed of influencer economy which has come in. Okay. And influencers, to a larger extent, there is always a debate which comes back and says, while I have hired an influencer and got this much views and this much likes, etc., what is the cost per conversion? One is a question which a brand will ask. Mohit, please second me on this because you have your day in, day out on them. And second, what is the kind of engagement which we have actually bought in? Because there's always this quotient of engagement where if you have 10 million or 5 million or whatever million views which have come, these are some of the questions which have been asked. Now, as a vanity, maybe influencer marketing may be great, but the numbers define something else. They're growing at 25%, now they become a 3,000 crore plus market. Maybe my numbers can go haywire here. But that is the market which is growing. So how do we accustom to a market like a kids or teenage do you think that could be the biggest influential factor? So take me to the journey, how you guys have used influencers on a real source, or you're planning to use or being used, so that the audiences come to know, is this for real?
So for us, I think kids are our biggest influence to start with. They themselves influence the whole category itself. And food is the maximum consumed stuff in the internet. You know, everybody knows about food. Apart from Toon, Teen, and Cartoon Networks of the world, kids actually consume food. And they actually want to become chef. Everybody wants to become a chef at the age of 4 and 5. And they think it's an amazing line. And so with the master chefs coming on board, they are cute to that. But yes, you're right. I think the kids influencer for us has been the biggest category. They have actually helped us grow the brand in terms of catering to a various segment to start with. As I said, 5 to 55 actually started from there. And we have a special segment for the kids. So we have the kids donut, which is in range. So basically, whenever we tie up with maybe a Kit Kat, tomorrow a Lotus Biscoff, for example, or with 5-star maybe tomorrow as a brand, I think kids has become the biggest interesting point for us, and they actually tell us what needs to be done in terms of influencing. We don't hire influencer, but I think we have few kid influencers who helped us doing this, and it has been a great success.
Mohit?
Yeah, so we tend to handle kid influencers slightly differently. In the sense that when you talk of adult interests, we never call them adult influencers, right? We look at the specific interest and then take influencers. And there are a lot of people who position themselves as kid influencers, and they justify, cost of conversion because they have a following of kids. What we also try to push is interest level influencers. So how do we do, for example, tech as a niche, and how do you use tech as tech influencers as a means to influence kids who are interested in tech, or foodies to figure out what is the best in food and restaurants which serve kid meals. So we are trying to do a lot of lifestyle influencers who have a decent mass of kids following, and that is the difference. At least we are trying to push. Now it's tough to justify costs at the start of this journey. But once you see success, you are able to draw a roadmap of how this actually worked vis-a-vis taking normal kid influencers. I'm not saying we don't do kid influencers at all, but a lot of kids gravitate to what adults do. And it's that simple insight we try and follow with the kind of work we do in influencer marketing, as with all other things.
Do brands generally ask for kids influencers, or they just say stay away because of reasons, because of kids influencing to buy? Does it get into some kind of a gray area?
Yeah, I think it's very category specific. So more and more brands, given all the negatives on food and so-called health brands that have come into, more and more brands are staying away as far as consumables are concerned. But in terms of, and this, I keep referring this because a lot of influencers I've seen influx of is tech, whether it's mobiles, whether it's laptops, tabs, and a lot of influencers are doing, getting a lot of work. Brands are asking upfront for influencers to get the, a lot of events also, like Comic-Con was mentioned in the previous one. So how do people, so if you look at brands like Lenovo, Dell, they were all there at Comic-Con last year. I missed this one's Bombay one. And their key following is the school crowd. So I'm saying event clubbed with digital for tech, for a couple of other sectors works well. But yes, influencers on health, so to say, consumables has gone down over the last 4 or 5 months.
Gaurav?
We call multiple influencers, different genres. And because for the events, like if I'm doing a kids event, then of course I'll bring kids influencers. When I'm doing shopping led, then lifestyle influencers. When I wanted to promote my food court and fine dine, then of course food bloggers need to come into the picture. And besides that, we do live events. So when we do a live events, we prefer that, example, day before yesterday itself, we did a Prashasti Singh comedy show. So those people actually do an announcement for their show. So they become an influencer that they pull the crowd to the mall. We have concerts, then these, like a Papan, which we are doing it. Papan himself is doing announcement on his page that he's coming to Infiniti Mall for the performance. So it gives a good traction for the mall in terms of conversion, conversion from their end in terms of footfall to the mall.
Janardan sir, have you kind of seen this kind of things from your brands or from your clients?
Yeah, so for BFSI category and education, we have used influencers. See, they are powerful. They have huge influence in the society and to their followers. But I still not so confident about personally as a media practitioner, as a brand custodian, to rely on them to make your brand. Because the passing on the message is one thing, but longevity of the message, we call awareness, recall, and affinity, is a questionable. Number one. Number two, that there's too much risk around if you want to associate with certain influencer for long term. There are risk involved because their personality is not defined. It is very shaky. I'm being very brutal with them. But if you ask me, do they work? Yeah. At this point of time, and I see for next 3 to 4 years, subject to all the government regulations, the influencer, the the investment into influencer marketing is going to increase because it is working. But as a brand person, I would like to be very cautious of using, selecting and using the influencers for the long term. Yeah, that's
One more thing I want to
Yeah, Gaurav.
reiterate here. So I'll give you the best example of Bonvita, one of the trending, I think few years back it was trending and which was shot at Infiniti Mall itself, where students play Bonvita, put across different old guitar and those stuff, and they put across the kids to interact with the customers in the mall, and they were trying to sell them. So practically they released it just before the exam season, and it was actually trending. So sometimes places like us become and for that it become trending not because of the influencer any. It's a right time approach, and they have actually hit the kind of people they were targeting to the parents, and they got the right audience at the right time. That is important rather than influencer face per se, I'll say. Because these influencers, like if Shah Rukh Khan is talking about my place, then it becomes trending kind of a thing. But these influencers which we are talking about, practically, we sometimes become a place for them to pull the followers on their page. Like once we did a illusion setup, there are lot of influencers which themselves came when they were making a video at our place.
Okay. So, interestingly, while influencers are becoming a biggest line of communication, what is happening on the content space? Janardan sir, this is for you. While there are a lot of characters and Comic-Con happening, Indian local characters coming in, is there a fan base one to address? Second, is there some ratings which you can see? I do understand the universe is small. Is there traction happening on, in terms of YouTube views? I understand after T-Series, Moonbug is the second watched channel for kids, which are 0 to 4, 0 to 5. What is the growth? Is it, because whenever you put a delta in front of kids watching, time spent, etc., it's huge. But advertisers, investing is abysmally low. Why that is happening? What is a missing link here? While everybody can remember the character in terms of top of mind, but in terms of spends, they are really abysmally low. How do one address that? Is it something missing in this entire link? I do understand government rules, I understand COPA, etc. But is there something we can do much better at, especially on the Indian space or Indian characters?
very, very relevant but very tough question to answer. You asked, see, we all know, like earlier panels I saw about Amar Chitra Katha. So, now Motu Patlo.
Yes.
It's one of the top programs. Since I don't do day-to-day media planning, but when the plan comes to me, I always ask them, Doraemon hai kya? Motu Patlo hai kya? So, the kids are Shinchan. Though the character of Shinchan is bit like, I have seen many brands, not wanting to associate, but it's a hugely popular show, whether it's on the digital platform or on the television. Now, you rightly said that in spite of kids being one of the they are super influencer in the family, be it automobiles. So if a child likes red color, the car has to be of red color that way. Painting in your house, lot to do with the television that you want to buy, the refrigerator, and these are the research data. But the advertising fundamental itself are not, attuned to all this. These are the holistic findings, not practice on day-to-day advertising functions. So that's why, though the kids are so important segment, and two is also, in spite of having so much of programming, but if you want me to name certain dependable TV channels or digital platform which will give you an SOV or a reach of 50% plus amongst the 5 to 12 kids, I will fail at that. There is no consolidation. There are too many things changing the kids. So when things are so scattered, it's very difficult for brands to put in huge monies there. Okay. That is where I think digital will do a better job rather than television, because you can specifically target.
Mohit?
Yeah, I agree. Also, I think we haven't reached that zenith of creating content for kids yet. I think if you went to an event like Comic-Con and just catch a couple of random kids, any age, ask them to name the characters they love. I doubt if a Chhota Bheem would be there, or I doubt if an Amar Chitra Katha character would be there. I think I know more of Amar Chitra Katha characters than today's kids. So my point, also, even in the OTT space where entertainment has really changed over what TV used to give us, Indian content for kids is not really up to the mark there. It's basic animation that you can talk of Chhota Bheem, and there's something called Mighty Raju, but they are very few and far between. Rest of the content for kids is all foreign imports, either dubbed or in English, or you can choose your language. But I don't think we truly have that true, I saw this kid outside who acts in Ye Meri Family, which I love the serial. But I think that series is still targeted to us who were kids in the 90s or 80s rather than the kids of today. And I think we're missing that somewhere. I think a lot of brands, and I'm coming to brand content here, still talk very preachily to kids, and there are three lenses through which they look at. One is the lens of the family, so born, vita, mother, all of that. One is the lens of the peers, so fun products. And one is the lens of the thought leader, so influencer plays a big part here. I think all of them are coming from a very preachy standpoint as of now. And I'm sure they can be used to tell stories, and that's what kids love. And I think we haven't reached there, and we continue to strive to reach there.
So with Tarak and Gautam, how do you guys use this? While there are characters, do you punch in these characters for your promotion push, or use them as a two-day promotion when a show gets launched? Does it really activate your sales? Does it generate curiosity? How do you guys use this character, the physical characters? So tomorrow you have a Mighty Raju as an example, or a Chhota Bheem as an example. Do you use them as to bring more sales, or bring more traction, or bring more footfalls for both of you? Because since you guys fall on the same purview.
We have seen the numbers during Christmas time. When we bring or during summer time, when we get the highest footfalls, and kids is one of the main driver for the parents to come to the mall. Kids come because of these characters, and sale happen because parents actually spend money. So again, we have FEC also, which is Family Entertainment Center, and kids actually go there. And I have seen there is one place where you leave your kid for 1 hour, wo khelega, and then parents do shopping. Or actually, as a parent, they love that there should be physical activity for the kid. And they bring their kid because during summertime, during holiday season, most of the parents now realize that kid is spending more time, they have a more screen time. And this is the main concern for all the parents, that they wanted kid to come do some physical activities more rather than spending more on the mobile phone or on the TV sets where they'll be watching YouTube or something. So that is one of the driving factors, and kids get excited because they are meeting with their character which they have seen it on the screen. So yes, it gives traction in terms of sales, especially when the season comes in, but kid actually bring their parent to the mall more.
Tarak?
So for us, I think our product is a hero. We actually deal with product, so basically product becomes a superhero, and we don't believe in characters. So we produce content in terms of product. Infiniti gets characters, and then we go into buy-in with them. So they play there and then come to us for our food.
That's easy.
They gave us offer also. 1+1 offer actually attract kids more.
Fantastic. Two more questions before I sum up. One is, which is ringing in my head. AI has now become a talking point. So everybody says, be it drinking coffee or drinking beer, everybody talks about AI. Now, the question is it something for real? Are you guys pursuing it? Are you guys thinking? Are you guys have experimented? Okay. Can you just take us through a journey? Have you started using AI?
Yes, we have actually. So recently we just launched our box of 6 and 12 where we have put AR filters to that, where actually you can scan the product and make your own donut kind of thing. We have started making CGI videos recently. So that is, I think, the in thing which has started talking about it. And food will be the first thing to happen. Although the people like Nikes of the world have already done it, but I think in food, I think we'll be the first one to do it soon, hopefully. Yeah, anybody happens to do it tomorrow, I will not know. But I think, yes, AI is the greatest influencer today, I think, because it gives you, for us, it gives you a bucketing, basically how a character, for example, a guest, what they want, what their choices is, where they come from, where they go from there. So I think it helps us to actually bucket the customers and actually feed them with information what they like in terms of our category, in terms of our brand. So I think, yes, it's a future for sure. But again, I want to again reflect to the thing is that AI may be there. Food is all about empathy. Food is about food, seeing and eating it actually. So will be a collaboration of both, I think. But AI is here to stay for sure.
Okay. And you happy with the response? Like
Too early.
Too early.
I think we'll have to actually educate the consumer also what is an AI filter for them.
Mohit, have you started putting this in your plans to experiment with your brands, or is it now their client have started enjoying it, or it's too early stage?
It's even for non-kid brands, when I say lifestyle brands, we have been dabbling with AI, but at a very nascent stage. In my kid content efforts, I don't think we have used AI in any of AI formats. We have used very basic filters about it. We haven't gone beyond. So I think there's a lot more that can happen. We're also toying with, because we work with a couple of tech brands, because kids really interact and engage with tech, how you can make AI a plaything for the kids. So that is something we are toying with. Maybe it'll come out soon.
What about you, Gaurav?
If you ask me, practically we haven't used much AI. Okay. But yes, retail outlets which are there in the mall, they use AI. So Azot is one of the brand which is from Reliance, and they use like lot of AI in their store. So there is physically you can, as a customer, you can do the payment without the human interference. You can, you will be doing a trial in the trial room and you wanted some size. So there is an option where it can be come directly to you. So these are the options which is being offered by the brand. Of course, we are doing something on the loyalty program customers where we'll have filters which we'll give it to them. It's more related to the gamification of the loyalty program.
Janardan sir, have you got briefs from brands saying that AI kya hota hai? What do you want to say about it?
So far, we haven't been so advanced actually, but I knowingly or unknowingly, we all using AI. So we are user and we are consumer. And definitely is going to be part of our life ahead. As far as our advertising business is concerned, since we are investing on Meta and Google, so we are into it. We have to be cautiously look forward to till what extent it will work for us. So let's see.
So the last question, in one line, what does the future holds? If you have to say in one line, at this entire narrative which we draw in the last 45 minutes, what does the future holds just in one line? from all of you.
So maybe dynamic is the one word, I think, because everybody will coexist, I think, and dynamism will be the key one, to engage the consumer.
Janardan sir?
So we talked about kids and TV. So when we refer TV, it's linear TV, via cable and DTS. So slowly it will change. Internet TV will be in the every household.
Yeah.
Since there's so much of content being produced, the universe of audience will increase manifold. So advertising, whether it's on digital or television, will grow. India has to see a lot of growth into advertising spend. And with so much of content and talent together, I see a very bright future for this industry, which is with growth and with more maturity coming in. And happy days ahead.
Very good. Mohit?
I think one line I would like to put this is content by kids for kids. And that is my one line. And when I say that, I mean, how do you use, so imagine a scenario for, and this traditional kids media have been doing for a long time. So come Children's Day, all comic issues will be done by children. I don't think digital, we have explored that. Imagine a session of Peppa Pig, one episode written by a kid. So I think content created by kids for kids is something that I would say is going to be coming sooner than we think.
Gaurav?
I personally believe human touch can't be replaced with digital at all. It will be there, and when you see human, you actually excited to join that group.
Great. I think it's a great sum up for all of us. We've taken 7 minutes plus. Sorry about it, but I think we had a great session. Thank you so much, and really enjoyed every bit of it. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the final panel discussion of India Kids Summit Season 5. Aur zor se please taaliya. Give it up for all of them. I'll request all of them to wait. I'll invite Mr. Siddharth Laik, founder and editor-in-chief IWMBuzz Media Network, to kindly come up on stage and hand over the token of appreciation to them.